Yo Brawlers, this is your man, Glass Chin, and you're watching Glass Chin's Boxing. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Yo Brawlers, a heavyweight fight was announced today that has taken me completely by surprise. This fight seems to have come completely out of the blue. But it is Lucas Big Daddy Browne versus Jarrell Big Baby Miller. That's right, you heard it, Big Daddy versus Big Baby. This fight could possibly take place on the undercard of WBA regular champion Daniel Dubois in his next fight, which is likely to take place on the 26th of November at the O2, or this fight could possibly take place in Abu Dhabi on the 13th of November. This will be a great undercard bout for a Frank Warren Queensberry card. Warren's cards have been a little thin in recent years, I think we can all agree on that. To be honest, I was fully expecting Browne to be Dubois' first defence after his first round destruction of Junior Farr. Browne is now ranked 10th with the WBA, and he should have been a fairly routine win for Dubois. But I suppose he would always be dangerous with his power, but really, Dubois should be taking him out in 2 or 3 rounds. He seemed to be the easy option amongst the known fighters in the WBA. I mean fighters that have got name recognition in the UK after his fights with Dillian Whyte, Richard Tower and Dave Allen. Miller is now ranked 14th after having 2 tune-up fights since serving his 2 years ban for getting caught popping while signed to fight Jerry Forrest. Is there anyone that Jerry Forrest won't fight? As I said, this fight has taken me by surprise, but I'm all for this great little scrap. Browne must be getting a decent sized payday to take this fight. Had it gone down a few years back, I think everyone would favour Miller to win this fight. But he hasn't looked good in his 2 comeback fights, and Browne pulled off a huge upset against Junior Farr, who gave Parker a competitive fight and a few things to think about not so long ago. Not only did Browne get the upset against Farr, he destroyed him in a single round. What a really brutal knockdown. If you haven't watched it, Brawlers, go back and watch it. Fucking painful to watch. Having said that, Lucas Browne has aged, and he's shown in his recent fights that his stamina and work rate just isn't there. I think he's past it now, but he could have some success early in this fight against Miller. Miller isn't hard to hit, but Miller does seem to be able to take a shot well. It would be hard to know how good his chin is without the juice, but I expect him to weather the early storm and to stop Browne inside 6 rounds. What do you think, Brawlers? Do you agree with me? Do you think Miller will stop Browne within 6 rounds or less? So, Brawlers, that leaves the question. With these 2 fighting next, who will Daniel Dubois fight in November? It was rumoured that Dubois was going to fight Dillian Whyte next, but that sounded too good to be true, and it doesn't look like that's the case now, with Whyte saying don't believe everything you hear. It appears that Whyte is now trying to get a Wilder fight or a rematch with Anthony Joshua. With the Dillian Whyte fight looking dead in the water and a lot of the WBA top 15 already signed a fight, I'm really hoping Dubois makes his first defence against Martin Bakole or Aslanbek Makhmudov. What wars either of them fights would be. Makhmudov is fighting Carlos Takam on the 16th of September. I fully expect Makhmudov to knock Takam out quicker than anyone ever has before and to put on a show in that fight. After Takam, he could be ready to fight again in November, as long as he doesn't get an injury or suffer any cuts. Makhmudov is a fight that Dubois could lose. It's no give me. It's all about whether he wants to make a few easy defences or test himself. He hasn't learned anything in his fights since the Joyce fight. They have all been walkover jobs. Makhmudov will be there with ambition and he'll be there to take Dubois' head off. To me, Makhmudov really hasn't got much spotlight for the upcoming heavyweights. Hrgovic seems to have been the guy that everyone's pushed as the new bogeyman in the division. In recent years, it's been Hrgovic this, Hrgovic that. People saying no one wants to fight him, but to be honest, he was exposed by Zhilei Zhang. And I've always rated Makhmudov much higher than him. I know I thought that Hrgovic would beat Zhang, but I don't think Hrgovic is the fighter that people make him out to be. I never have done. To me, Makhmudov has been doing everything that Hrgovic has been doing, but against a slightly higher class of opponent. Hrgovic has now been exposed by Zhang, so maybe Makhmudov will get a little bit more exposure and people will actually treat him as a threat to the champions. If it's not Makhmudov, next I hope it's Martin Bakole. He just beat Tony Yoka. That was a decent scalp to take. If Daniel Dubois is going to go on and fight his British rivals in the likes of your Joshuas and Furies of the world, or even get a rematch with Joyce, then he needs to be able to beat guys like Martin Bakole pretty comfortably. I'm not saying Bakole's a bad fighter, but if Dubois wants to take that next step and become an elite heavyweight, he needs to be able to take care of guys like this. Beating Bakole should get Dubois some respect back in the eyes of the British fans after his loss to Joyce. The fans were very harsh, calling him a quitter. But at the end of the day, the man's eyesight was at stake. He'd be a very, very brave man to not have stayed down in that situation, knowing that one punch could make you blind. So beating Bakole or Makhmudov really is a statement in this division and gets Dubois closer to them big fights and closer to being the finished article. Both of them guys are warriors and both of them will come to fight and test him. If he's not the real deal brawlers, he'll get found out against either of them guys. I fully expect Dubois to face the winner of Browne versus Miller down the line. I'm not sure how soon the mandatory will be called once Hughie Fury and Michael Hunter fight, so there could be room for Dubois to have another voluntary defence early next year after his fight in November. Who do you want to see him fight next, Brawlers? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. And as always, Brawlers, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.